Welcome back. In this set of parallel tracks, we have a fireside chat in the Auditorium 1 on business and technology trends shaping enterprises in the new normal with Mr. Ajay Kapur, CEO, Aluminium and Power and MD, Commercial, Vedanta Ltd, and Mr. Yashvendra Singh, Executive Editor, ETCIO. And in Auditorium 2, there is a CIO presentation on retail transformation by Mr. Piyush Chauhan, Group CIO, Lulu Group. Over to you, gentlemen.
Hello, viewers. Thanks for joining in. We have a very compelling fireside chat in store for you. The topic of the session is business and technology trends shaping enterprises in the new normal. We are currently going through one of the most significant historical changes ever experienced in the last 100 years. Old businesses will change and new businesses will emerge. We are already seeing a shift in services that clients are adopting as a response to this pandemic. Essential services in relation to healthcare, energy, and natural resources, water, and emergency services will continue to be in demand, although the business models for these industries may change. But what would these new business models look like? To answer this and other questions, joining me in this conversation is Mr. Ajay Kapur, CEO, Aluminium and Power Business and Managing Director, Commercial at Vedanta Ltd. Welcome, Mr. Kapur.
Hi, good afternoon.
Sir, I'll open up the discussion by referring to a trend that's gaining a lot of ground, a lot of traction in the manufacturing vertical, which is Industry 4.0. And people are even talking about 5.0 in some mature markets. The bottom line is that more visionary and manufacturing enterprises are adopting Industry 4.0, 5.0. How is Vedanta leveraging technology to become a digital-first, low-cost, and sustainable manufacturing entity? And will this transition get impacted by the pandemic, and how? Your thoughts here, sir.
Thank you for asking a very, very topical question. I'm sure all business leaders today are weighing this. So at Vedanta, we are adopting Industry 4 to add value to the operations and products, essentially also on supply chain. We use this to get deeper process understanding and higher production utilization. For us, volume is a very key element of our strategy. What we do is we ensure productivity in our multi-locational businesses. As you know, we have 7 different verticals, and within each vertical, we have multiple units. So it's even more important that we use digital collaboration platforms to track critical operational parameters, stay connected with all the relevant stakeholders, and most importantly, sustain the 24/7 nature of our business. Aluminium, for example, the smelters can't be shut down. They need to run 365, 24/7. And that's where we believe cutting-edge digital transformations, be it SAP, MES, they give us visibility of our equipment and operations on an online, on-time basis, anytime, anywhere. So I can actually track it sitting here in Mumbai or in Delhi for my sites which are located in Jharsuguda or Balco. So all the critical plant parameters are available. So that's the first important thing. We are also using in India for the first time digital smelter solutions, which is going on at Jharsuguda, which is one of the largest smelters outside of China. It enables remote monitoring and controlling our potline operations, which is a core using digital twin technology. Logistics automation, we have also used heavily in our zinc operations, aluminium, oil and gas. And it's giving us increased efficiency and reduced leakages. So I think it pays back on all fronts, including safety and health of the operation. Vedanta is now testing blockchain platform for our international and commodity purchases. There is a series of documentation which can be seamlessly integrated to this technology. And our power plants have incorporated digital twins for both predictive and prescriptive analysis to enhance our efficiency, avoid downtimes, and optimize operational processes. So those are some of my, comments on Industry 4.5.
Wonderful, sir. But would this pace of going digital continue unabated, sir? Or because, there has been some pressure on liquidity, right, during the last 1.5 years. So do you think this pace would be maintained going forward of going digital, or would that get impacted because of some liquidity crunch or capex issues?
No, I would respond a little differently to say that going digital is no longer a solution. It's the road to your business enterprise. If you have to fly, you have to go to an airport, right? If you have to take a train or largely move your goods within India, you have to use railways. So therefore, if you have to move your company and industry, I think digital is a no-brainer. I think everybody, in fact, if at all, COVID has taught us that even somebody who's a vegetable vendor or a fruit vendor has actually started getting payments on digital platforms amidst the pandemic, and then used another digital platform to deliver it at home, again through set of startups who are using digital enablement as a way. And I believe this has allowed a large part of people in cities to get employed from their erstwhile, vocations to a new way of digitally enabled, workforce. So I think it's a way of life. There is no choice. Students are reading and studying classes through their parents' mobile phones. We never thought mobile phone, which was only a communication device, will actually become an education device also. This is, I'm talking even children of lesser, economic backgrounds who cannot afford that, laptops. They're using their fathers and mothers' mobile phones and converting that into a way of. So I think digital is there, is there to stay. There's no way about it. It's only helping us becoming efficient, making data available more easily, and at a fraction of a cost.
Sure.
And this will only get better in time to come with 5G and so on and so forth.
Sure, sir. Very well explained, sir. So for any organizations, customer centricity is very critical. The pandemic, meanwhile, has shown how customer demands can shift overnight. As a company, how agile is Vedanta in quickly aligning to the evolving market or customer demands? Because, it's a legacy company, traditional manufacturing entity, and, people don't associate agility with such enterprises. So how do you look at it, sir?
So first of all, while it's all right to call us heavy industry because we are big in terms of the assets we need to build to produce aluminium and to produce power. So I'll not counter you on that. However, imagine a world where you want to go digital, where you want to go, smart cities, you want to build airports. Can you do that without basic products like what we make? We make copper, we make aluminium, we make zinc, we make oil and gas, we make iron and steel, we mine iron ore. Without this, there is nothing available. The casing of your mobile phones and on laptops are all aluminium. The aeroplanes on which we fly are all alloys built with metals. The space shuttles and the spaceships that we're talking of and landing onto moon and so on and so forth are all products of the substances in some form or the other we make. The electricity that we transmit, and in future the electric cars which will be built, they would be built on alloys which are made of lighter materials, including what I produce, aluminium, copper, steel. So I think we cannot imagine a world where what we produce will not be there. So we will be like an Intel Inside, So we'll be there everywhere. And therefore, we believe we are a new economy business. We are a 100% green business because aluminium which we manufacture is 100% recyclable. There is no wastage at a fraction of a cost, which basically tells us, yes, it is important to mine the ore and to transform it into primary aluminium. But once produced, it can keep on regenerating itself for years to come. So in that context, it is actually a life cycle positive sort of it doesn't have to go and be buried into a waste area. It actually can be reconfigured. First time it could make a car, second time it could make an alloy, third time it could make something else. So I think to that extent, I'm in a very green business. Vedanta Aluminium, for example, we are about a $5 billion business. We call it a 5 billion startup with a founder's mentality. So we are very agile. We are very, but within the spheres of the business we run, agility doesn't mean that I can shut down my smelter. Once started, it has to run. Agility means that I can shift my customer bases like I did when the first time pandemic hit, when domestic market got closed for almost a month or 2 months or 3 months in a row. We had our own ports, we had our own infrastructure, we had our own port, ships, and our connected customers all over the world. So we went to Americas, we went to Europe, we went to Asias, and no sooner the Indian demand opened up, for us, India comes first. So we reconfigured back our production mix and the logistics mix to cater to India. To that extent, I would say we operate like still a startup, very agile, and we are very fortunate that the people who work for us, on average age at some of our biggest plants, and mind you, they are one of the biggest industrial sites in the country. You'll be surprised, average age is as low as 25 to 30, 32. And we have a diversity ratio of upwards of 15-20% at shop floor. So I think that's something we are very proud of. So we are actually a startup with a modern thinking and a modern mindset, digitally, fully wired. Most of our decision-making processes are very agile and responsive. I think we have enhanced the workforce safety because that's the only way we could have continued our operations. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult. In fact, our production more or less remained at the same levels that they were pre-COVID times, barring some hiccups in 1 or 2 quarters. But for a full year average, I think we're more or less same where we started. And we are using, IT during the pandemic in a far more, rebooted and reboosted manner. We set up virtual war rooms. We set up digital emergency command and control centers. We have used remote working at a scale which was never possible at plants, at offices. But at the same time, we have not allowed the productivity to come down, which basically meant that even pre-COVID, our basic infrastructure was in place so that we were able to immediately hook up and step up the whole process of working from remote mobile phones or laptops or so on and so forth. We have also added, virtual visiting the plant, so I can do safety tours through a drone. We're building up new plants. Our capex has not reduced. Our expansion plans have not reduced because we believe that's the need of the hour. And this is an opportunity actually. In every adversity, you have to look at an opportunity. And we also no longer use the elaborate video conferencing and telepresence. We have almost put those systems on a back burner, and we have adapted the new age communication tools, which I believe are also more efficient. And end of the day, they're more economical also and far more deployable. So, for example, earlier we had in every office a series of boardrooms which were special, conference centers. We used to call them telepresence rooms, and we are slowly dismantling them because we believe we don't need them anymore. I can do the same thing sitting in my car traveling to work and not even having to, waste my time, so that the meeting gets scheduled once I reach the office. So I think that's the way we have reconfigured life. Most important is making sure that the workforce safety is very important. We have a huge workforce, and we believe we are responsible for that. So we're using all health and care for our people and the communities and the business partners.
Sure. Wonderful, sir. Thanks a ton for that very comprehensive response from your end. Moving on, whatever the situation may be, companies will have to carry forward the agenda of innovation. There are no two ways about that. The face of this innovation could definitely change. Instead of disruptive innovation, we could talk about iterative innovation. What are your thoughts on this? How is Vedanta fueling iterative innovation in these times? And it'll be great if you can give some real life examples, of iterative innovation that you've brought about in the last 1 year or so.
So, what we believe also as an enterprise to learn. We believe even there are metals, mining and resources major. Google, we can learn from Facebook, we can learn from Microsoft, or we can learn from our own global peers, be it Rio Tinto or in India, some of the, So I think we are constantly looking. The first thing which I like about Vedanta, it's a hungry organization which is happy to disrupt and also construct again the disruption that you want to do. So what we did was about 1.5 years back, we did this across about 25 different SBUs as we call them. And this is where we indigenously develop product solutions, technology customizations. We put a young set of thinkers who are just 1 or 2 years out of games. Some of them shop floor. We also tied up with some educational institutions, R&D centers. We also believe that we actually believe in outsourcing a lot, working with the global best companies, tie up with them, use and learn faster, because we believe that's the way the digitally wired world is all about. Today people don't ask anyone anything. You just Google it out, right? So you can Google out a good business partner. who could come and set you up to win and follow an expression of interest model. Anything which is a challenge we throw up into the cloud, right, or on an advertisement, and you'll be surprised the kind of people who want to come forward and work with us, join hands with us in the process. Not only are we learning from others, we are also able to build what we wish to build at a far faster pace, and most importantly, in the process, ability for the people who come and work for us. So I think what we have done is a very vibrant hub of functions like R&D, operations, business excellence, digital, to collaborate and brainstorm in these innovation cafes. I would like to call upon, which is called Vedanta Spark. So we invited a series of startups and we did webinars with them. And we asked them to tell us, look, this is what Vedanta is all about. We have 7 verticals. We are about $17 billion enterprise, growing up at a healthy 10-15% growth rate. What is it that you can do for us? So rather than a traditional way, funding round 1, funding round 2, putting some money in a startup, we said, look, this is what we do. Please come and tell us what can you do for us. And you'll be surprised the series of startups under the Spark program who have tied up with us, and they're actually solving some of our day-to-day requirements in the process. We believe that's our way to give back rather than purely putting a money, a couple of $1 million here and there. I think this is a far better way to give back and to also enable ourselves. It's basically aimed at joint technology and product development, commercial partnerships, equity investments also where needed, and strategic acquisitions with startups through open. What it does is it offers entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs a platform to engage with and develop customized solutions for Vedanta's group companies. We have collaborated with the best of technology companies and educational institutes for imparting remote technology-enabled and incubation processes. We've also collaborated with global majors to reuse digital technology tools like inspection technologies, natural language processing, sensing technologies, imaging analytics, material development and testing, robotics, etc. So I think that's a short answer to a very interesting question.
Sure, sir. Wonderful. Sir, sustainability, circular economy, good tech are some areas that are increasingly gaining mindshare among enterprises. How is Vedanta aligning with these goals and trends? You spoke about how aluminium contributes to being a circular economy product. What else comes to your mind, sir, when you talk about sustainability and good tech, circular economy?
Very interesting question. I think today's enterprises cannot have a license to exist unless and until they are having a solid ESG framework and unless and until they are sustainable. So I think it's again oxygen to be alive. Unless you're sustainable, I believe you will not have a license to exist. And Vedanta firmly believes in that. We are aware of the responsibilities towards ensuring a sustainable footprint at all our operations. Understanding our stakeholders' expectations and responding to that expectation is a paramount importance to us. We communicate our company's economic, environmental, and social impact and sustainability topics material to our stakeholders every year through our group sustainability reporting. It's also available on our website. We benchmark our sustainability practices with global peers. As I also mentioned earlier, that's the best way to see where you are vis-a-vis what word is. We've been participating in international forums like Dow Jones Sustainability Index. I'm very happy to say that Vedanta ranked number 12th in Dow Jones Sustainability Index for the metals and mining sector globally. And we came second in Asia in 2020. One of our group companies, Hindustan Zinc, came number 4, I believe, globally last year. And every year it has been going and increasing the bar. So I think at Vedanta, all of us believe that it's absolute mandatory for a CEO and his leadership team to sign up on basic requirement of sustainability as a core. We have created a carbon forum. We have appointed a director carbon in the company to proactively work with all the 7 verticals on implementing the company's carbon mitigation plan. We have joined hands with the central government to sign a declaration on climate change by voluntarily pledging to move towards carbon neutrality. We are actively exploring renewable energy sources like solar, biomass, biogas to potentially reduce our dependence on thermal as a primary source of energy. And within that, also seeing if we can do cogeneration and we can also optimize our efficiencies that further adds to the journey. In aluminium, we have clocked a 20% reduction in our GHG over our FY12 base, which I believe is a good journey. Our energy savings is estimated to be in FY21, 1.92 million gigajoules. through multiple energy saving projects. I think resource efficiency and circular economy are critical. We firmly believe in zero harm, zero waste, zero discharge. Our aluminum smelters at Jharsuguda is working with a renowned company, Runaya LLC, who is recycling the dross and extraction of as much as 90% of the waste, from which 90% aluminum is taken out. And we intend taking this to our another smelter in Balco. All our operations are zero discharge, and you reuse the water generated within the operations. In FY20, we saved about 3 million cubic meter of water, thus avoiding equivalent use of fresh water and fully recycling it. We utilize 100% of the ash generated from our power plants through various avenues like supplying to cement industries, supporting local brick manufacturing, and thereby enabling the MSME, etc. And also now looking at backfilling up the mines voids which have been left, which also is a natural deployment of such a hazard byproduct. We have entered into a collaboration with 3 research institutes for piloting the technology to recover precious metals from our bauxite residues. So these are just some of them. There are many more, right, and good examples. But I thought this will tell you the spirit behind our ESG strategy.
Great, sir. Now, moving forward, we have seen how businesses have pivoted, how trends such as work from home and the adoption of cloud have assumed completely new levels. What top business technology trends do you see emerging in the next couple of years? And as a CEO, how would you maximize these trends?
So again, a very interesting topical question like the earlier one you asked. So we believe edge artificial intelligence can transplant brains to factory tools and machinery. Let me tell you how. It is being considered as the next wave of AI. Edge AI will make it possible to run AI algorithms closer to or even on the devices collecting the data instead of cloud. So it almost becomes like a on-time, real-time sort of a data. This will help in preserving bandwidth, increasing efficiency, accelerate generation of insights, lower cloud services usage and cost. This will especially be of use at remote operations like our mines, like our oil wells, where connectivity is poor and one requires time-sensitive decision-making. I think 5G factory can revolutionize manufacturing. 5G is expected to boost the manufacturing industry with new and more powerful digital capabilities. It is capable of meeting the power requirements of millions of connections to data intensive applications. I believe 5G, with 5G, it's possible to share data extremely faster, erase processing delays, and ensure factory systems can react in time, in the real time. I think the reliability of 5G connectivity guarantees a stable, constant network connection anywhere and anytime on the factory floors. So I believe that itself will be a very great revolution in time to come, and not so distant future.
Sure. Wonderful, sir. As much as I would have loved to continue this conversation, we need to respect time as well. So I'll like to get your thoughts on one last question before we wrap up this session. Sir, as a CEO, what's on top of your priority list? What are your future plans with respect to business and technology, especially with respect to technology? Where do you see the budgets moving for, IT department, sir?
So basically, we no longer, first of all, call IT. We already, moving like rest of the world in a digital, ecosystem. In Vedanta, what we have done is we've actually formed a digital management committee, which not only has a chief digital officer, but it also has strong leadership from some of my colleagues with the fellow CEOs. They sit on that, and it's driven right at the top. It also gets some line managers in it. Besides, of course, some global consultants who can come and help us get faster. The metal industry plans to invest heavily on sustainability in digital operations over the next 5 years. I think that's one trend which I would see, and we will be no different. We will continue to also learn and increasingly invest. Also use startups, as I said, not necessarily go back to the tried and tested products. We believe startups can come and solve some of our problems faster with our mindset of a owner and entrepreneur, which we want to keep at the core of our DNA. This is leading to increasingly advanced level of digitalization and integration, and it will help in substantial operational cost saving, safety, which I believe is very, very prime, and business sustainability and social inclusiveness. So I think this is where we believe digital will definitely help us. We have a focused strategy for incorporating digital and aligning it with our business models as the organization goes into the next leg of expansion. I think one of the things we like to also do is to see how we can continue to effectively combine the buyer and supplier platform to integrate and optimize the value chain. What I mean is buying digitally and without any paper, and selling digitally again without a need for any network except for a cloud network, which is like a e-commerce. So I think that could become such an interesting proposition. And within that platforms, we have everything there. There's a banking tool available. There is a MSME. There is a technical support available. And I think that's something which can transform the whole ecosystem, the way we operate versus the way we wish to operate in time to come. We believe also looking at getting closer to the customer in some of our products, getting deeper insights on the customer data, and then using it back through artificial intelligence to make products and solutions. Unlike FMCG, we are not so we don't have to produce new products every day. But what is the need and the changing trends? If we come to know, then we can always reconfigure our production processes, make the alloys which are needed for electric cars, electric buses, for example. Just giving you one example, what we could do different. Then we want to engage and transform and train our digital workforce, because I believe that's something which we'll need. After all, we employ direct, indirect 100,000 people. Tomorrow's digitally wired world would need people, but they will need different skill sets. They will have to be as comfortable with a laptop as they were with a shop floor, control room machine. So we need to really train them. We are doing underground mining in our zinc operations, and I believe those are really state-of-art equipment that they're using. So the same operator who was earlier doing overground mining, which is a no-brainer, has to now go deeper into earth and be safe, and also make sure that without wasting any natural resource, we mine out the ore without spoiling ecosystem. We have to invest in alternative benefits, not just jobs. So I think digitalization will empower some workers, but many of the local jobs of the past may not exist, and the ones which will get created will be the future for generations to come and earn and learn. So I think that I'll stop here. I can go on and on, but I think we are not going to stay shy on investing in digital. We believe digital. We will only hire people who are digitally, compatible with us. Let me put it this way.
Great.
And the ones who are with us, we'll enable them.
Sure. Thanks a lot for that wonderful discussion, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for. To sum up the discussion, with the rapidness of change we are undergoing as a society, if people and companies don't change with our new reality, they will be left behind. As technology-enabled transformation is imperative, new mindsets for humans will be the driver to see a successful implementation to propel businesses forward. The ground rules, beliefs, and assumptions that drive culture will require rethinking with a new set of mindsets driving employee and business success. Thanks a lot, Mr. Kapur, for this wonderful interaction, and thank you, viewers, for your interest. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching Economic Times Spectrum.
Thank you, gentlemen, for an interesting chat session. Stay tuned for the next session as we'll take a short networking break.